Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. So we go back to the book of Bulugh al-Maram and chapter of Nikah, which is marriage, and we are almost at the end of the chapter. This part talks about al-iddah, which is the waiting period after the divorce or the death of the husband. So the next hadith is narrated by Ibn Umar. I'll read it in Arabic then in English. عن عمر رضي الله عنه في امرأة المفقود. And this is a saying of Umar ibn Khattab himself. It's not a saying of Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. في امرأة المفقود تربص أربع سنين ثم تعتد 4 أشهر و10. أخرجه مالك والشافعي. So this hadith talks about an important topic, which is what happens if the husband is missing. What happens if the husband is missing? Let me see if I can find the translation for you. I think we passed this. Or somebody must have changed. Let me just translate it to you, and then until we find it. This hadith talks about somebody whose husband has been gone missing. Maybe he went on a trip, he went missing, or in a war, he went missing. What would happen? Because she's still married to him, and we don't know if he's dead or if he's alive. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu gave here a fatwa. He says she should wait 4 years, and then after 4 years he didn't show up, no news whatsoever. He considered that 4 years is sufficient to consider him as dead, and that's why he considered the iddah after that 4 months and 10 days, which is the iddah of the woman whose husband has died. Okay, now this 4 years is not a fixed ruling. It is not a saying of the Prophet ﷺ. And there is a hadith on this matter, but this hadith is weak, so we cannot go by it. This, which is the next hadith narrated by Mughira ibn Shu'bah. Prophet ﷺ said about the woman whose husband is missing that she waits until she hears back. Now this hadith is weak, and we cannot take a ruling from it, which means that we cannot prove it is the saying of the Prophet ﷺ. Now, and that is why they say that each case should be considered individually. Okay, let's say somebody went on a trip on a ship, and that ship has sank, and most people have drowned, but they never found his body. What would you assume? That he probably is amongst the people who have drowned. So there's no point to wait. There's no point in waiting for so long. Okay, they can wait a few months then, and that should be sufficient. So they say that it is based on the circumstances. If he went into a battle or a war, a soldier, and then he went missing, and you haven't heard back. So all these things have to be put into consideration as to how long to wait. So there's no specific ruling. In that case specifically, Umar ibn Khattab felt that 4 years was reasonable. Okay. Now let's say they deemed the husband as dead, and then his estate has been distributed based on the rules of inheritance in Islam, and then his wife got married to somebody else, and then suddenly the man shows up.
Too bad.
So
It's like an Hindi movie.
oh, there's
There's a lot of Indian movies that are like that.
oh, yeah.
Even one
The husband is scared and hiding from the wife.
even one Hollywood movie where this guy flies a FedEx plane and
Oh,
then he stays on
exactly.
land for 5 years. I
Yeah,
forgot the name.
Castaway is called,
The
right?
Castaway, yeah.
Yes. So that is true. Yeah, it can happen. Rare cases, but it can happen. If that is the case, this estate of his that was distributed, he takes it back.
Okay.
And that is easy.
But what about
The
the
problem is with the wife. They say that he has the right, because the man who married her knows that her husband could show up, correct? So he knows that he is not 100% dead. So the original husband has the choice of having his wife back. And if he takes his wife back, then the new husband, all he gets is his dowry and he goes away. And he gets his wife back. But he may choose just to leave her with the other husband and seek a new wife, and that is how the Muslim scholars ruled in this matter. Now, sorry? Yeah, with some other woman. Sorry. Okay. I was talking. No, he does not have to do the nikah again. She is his wife. This is like, this other marriage is deemed invalid right away, because this other marriage happened to a woman who is already married. So, go ahead.
Why say divorce is not an option?
No, it is an option.
Divorce her from him while he's missing, instead of assuming he's dead.
How can you divorce her? There should be.
The court. Like, it's an option.
I think
to
he's asking
divorce
for
her.
khula. Can a woman
Yeah.
ask
No,
for
not khula. I divorce him like by court rule, and first divorce.
No, that's not. They didn't really talk about this, because why? How divorce has to come from the husband himself, and he never wanted to divorce his wife. He never wanted to divorce his wife. No.
The court can divorce
Sheikh,
him.
is it a particular time? She gonna wait for this one, like
Yeah, we said she waits a time that is reasonable, based on the situation.
5 years, 3 years, 4 years?
She may. It's up to her to decide how long to wait.
Okay.
Maybe she decides to wait her whole life and not get married. That's up to her. But they say that you have to, because people are also waiting for their money. They think he's dead and he's wealthy, and everybody's waiting to inherit from him as well. Correct? Okay. It's not only the wife. Some people are looking at the money. So they have to make a decision with regards to his estate, what to do with it. So some people, and that is why a decision has to be made when to consider him dead and when to start distributing the estate and everything else. Yeah.
So when do you start distributing the estate? After 4 years? Too?
No. You were not listening?
No, I was, because if the distribution of of wealth starts right away.
Yes. Not right away. You wait a waiting period that is appropriate and suitable to the situation where he disappeared in. Okay? As I said, if there's a very high probability that he drowned in sea because he went on a ship that everybody else drowned, then you assume the body was never found, then you assume he's dead. You don't have to wait too long. You might wait just for a few months and there's no news. Obviously he's dead. But in other situations, you may wait longer. Now, if he was lost, for instance, in a forest or something, or in a jungle, some people can be lost for such a long.
The other way around.
Well, I don't have no hadith about the other way around. But the other way around, the other.
So I have a question. So
Yeah.
why the rules is so hard for the second husband? What's the wrong for the second husband? He didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything, of course, but he married a woman whose husband may show up. What? He could have gone and married a woman whose husband is surely dead or doesn't have a husband.
So when he married that woman, on the other hand, he helped that woman.
Of course, no, he didn't do anything wrong, Yani. But we're talking about a very rare situation, like an Indian movie, like he said. It doesn't really happen that often. And if they waited long enough and he didn't show up, probably he's dead. He's never going to show up. It's just, have you ever seen a story like this happen in real life?
In the movie, no.
In the movie.
But if you are really smart, if you see that she got to somebody else, just run away.